Hello, and welcome to episode 150 of the Pos-cast with Rabbi Shmuel Posner, myself, Seth Hellman. Rabbi, how are we doing today?
Yo, Baruch Hashem, it's Shushan Purim. It's great. It's wonderful. In Israel, in Israel, they're trying to get them not to celebrate in the streets of Yerushalayim.
Yeah.
For those people who forgot there's a shtickle war going on, Hashem should help them.
Right.
We have to do more mitzvahs b'simcha. That's the way we combat this war. I mean, the soldiers got to do their part, but we have to do our part and do more mitzvahs and more mitzvahs, more mitzvahs. Bring energy to the Jewish people. So, Purim. So here's a question. How old was Mordechai in the Megillah?
54.
That is so not right.
72.
You're just guessing. You're not even like thinking about it.
Correct. No, not even remotely.
Okay. So what we know about Mordechai from the Megillah was when he's introduced, this first time in the Megillah, twice we use the tune for Eicha, which is the Book of Lamentations, which we read on Tisha B'Av. One is when we introduce Mordechai. So it says that Mordechai went into exile with the exile of Yechanya Melech Yehuda. Okay, so we know that the story of Purim takes place towards the end of the 70 years that the Jews were in exile between the first and second Beis Hamikdash. And that's why Achashverosh made his party in the third year, because he figured out that the 70 years were over, and so now he can party because the Jews are not going to go back to Israel. Okay? And of course, we know that the nations in those times, and in later times as well, knew very well what the Jewish calendar was. Things don't happen just by chance. Up until the vicious attack on October 7th, which in the Jewish calendar was Simchas Torah. So I don't think it was by chance they decided, we'll do this on Simchas Torah. And the same thing also, we have a war that's named after the most famous day in the Jewish calendar. What is that war called?
The Yom Kippur War.
Exactly. Now, for practical reasons, it makes sense to attack Jews on Yom Kippur because they're probably fasting. Right. But there is added value, quote unquote, that they get from it, like doing it specific on a day when Jews think it's such a solemn and holy day or a very happy day. We know for a fact that the Nazis, Yamach Shemam, may their names be obliterated with the rest of the enemies of the Jewish people, specifically did cruel things to Jews on Jewish holidays. So they were keeping the Jewish calendar. They knew what it was. They knew what was going on. So in the times of Purim, they knew that the prophet had said that the Jews are going out of exile after 70 years. And so 3 times they tried to figure out when this, because there was different stages of the exile. It was when the king went into exile, in the beginning of the destruction, the end of the destruction. So every time they would do it, they make a big party, and it didn't work out. That's why Achashverosh made a party on the 3rd year of his kingdom. Why in the 3rd year? Because according to his calculation, the 70 years were over then, and there's no Beis Hamikdash being built. So he's very happy, like, oh, great, this is fantastic. Now I can party because I know that the Jews are never going back to Eretz Yisrael. Now, why did he care about Jews going back to Eretz Yisrael, going back to Israel? It's not. I don't know if it's so much because he cherished Jewish citizens in his kingdom, but there's, people are, the Gentiles are obsessed with Israel. We know this. They don't want it to exist. So it's always the argument made. If you look on a map, like when you fly to Israel, they have those maps that you watch on the back seat of the guy in front of you. And you look at the map and you see where you are, and it takes you to how far you have to go, right? When you look where Israel is compared to everything else, it's so tiny. So what's the obsession of the Jews living in Israel? Let them have it and move on. What's the big deal? But it's a big deal because they know, whether they know consciously or supraconsciously, that Eretz Yisrael is an important part of Jewish existence and vitality. So Achashverosh goes in and makes his party then. Now, but so the exile of Yechoniah happened, I think, 11 years before the destruction of the temple. So now we're talking not exactly, but close to 70 years since exile. And he left 11 years before. That's already, let's call it, make an easy number, 80 years. And he was a member of the Sanhedrin. What does that mean? That means that he was the high court. So if nothing else, we know in the Megillah that he knew all 70 languages, and that's why when the two servants of Achashverosh plotted against him, Mordechai was sitting there because that's where he was an official in the cabinet of Achashverosh, and he heard them plotting in a foreign language. They thought he didn't know it. He knew it because he knew all 70 languages, because as a member of Sanhedrin, if someone testifies, you have to be able to understand the language that they're talking, not through an interpreter. So that means, so we have already 80, he's at least 80 years old. He didn't become a member of the Sanhedrin and become fluent in 70 languages when he was 3 years old or 5 years old, or probably even 10 or 20. So we'd have to put him totally over 100 years old. Now, there is a Gemara that talks about whatever, different names of people and things. It says that they identify Mordechai as being part of the house of the Chashmonoim, which adds another couple of 100 years to it.
How is that even possible?
Hashem runs the world. What do you mean?
But Mordechai's post, like, he's after Moshe.
Right. No,
so he couldn't be hundreds of years old.
What are you saying, Moshe? What are you saying? Moshe took the Jews into what does Moshe have to do with it? Moshe took the Jews into Egypt.
Moshe was the last person to live for over, wasn't it?
120.
It was going to be more than 120.
Don't.
We know Mordechai was somewhere between like 13 and 119.
First of all, it's not so simple that no one lives more than 120 years. And second of all, don't ask, they know in Yiddish expression, akasha famaisa. It's a question on somebody asks you a question. I went over here and this happened. He said, okay, it couldn't be. It's like, okay, akasha famaisa. You're asking me a question about something that happened. Don't ask me a question on something that happened. Anyway, that's one opinion. I'm not saying it's not the final opinion.
It's wrong, which means it's not an opinion, it's a statement, and the statement is wrong.
Okay, we'll rewrite the Talmud and all its commentaries and add you in somewhere in a footnote.
As they should, right next to the line that says that you can mix chicken and milk.
we can't have any heresy on the Pos-cast. Anyway, but the bottom line is he was definitely over 100 years old. I mean, without any verse or anything else, just knowing what it says clearly in the Megillah that he was there years, before the exile started, and now it's 70 years into it, and he wasn't a newborn child. It's just an interest. There's a lot of things in the Megillah that aren't said specifically that you wonder, like, I wonder how old was Esther? We don't know that either. And what happened to Esther after the whole story? Where did she go? There's actually an article in Chabad.org about that. Very interesting, because you know what happened? Achashverosh passed away 2 years after the whole Purim story. And he already had a son, Daryavish, Cyrus II, who became king when he was 6 years old. And then if he was Esther's son, was he a Jew, not a Jew? There's all kinds of different issues about that. I'm just saying there's a lot more background. There's so much more background for the story of the Megillah than what we just read and know. It's fascinating. You can read Medrash and Talmud talks about it. Fascinating stuff. And talking about that, so we have a lot of pictures here. Do you have the picture of the last one I sent, the last email I sent? It was a picture of, yeah, I sent an email. It was an article that I saw a little bit ago about a Megillah that was given as a gift to the chief rabbi of Russia. There it is on the right, Beryl Lazar. Now, if you see he's holding in his hands, you can't, it's not, on my computer, it's not so, yeah, there it is. It's a Megillah. And the case in his left hand is a silver case. Oh, yeah. Oh, there we go. There you go. Okay, we're not about to read it. Now, if you pull back a little bit, we'll be able to see the person standing next to him. That's a 95-year-old man. After Megillah reading, he came over to Rabbi Lazar and told him that this Megillah was given to him by his grandfather. And his grandfather was born about 150 years ago. And his grandfather told him that his father had given it to him. So this Megillah is over 200 years old, and it's written so small. I'd love to have a close-up of it to see the writing and see how meticulous, what it looks like. I don't know how we can get to do that, but it would be very nice. And so he said that his grandfather gave it to him and said, take care of this for you until the rest of your life. So he's 95 years old now. So he figured that the best way to take care of it at this point is to give it to the rabbi. Pretty cool, huh? Mm-hmm. The continuity, and look what that Megillah survived so much more stuff than, look, man's 95 years old. That means he was born in 1930. Yeah. So he lived through terrible things, but kept that Megillah. That's the thing about Jews. We keep, things that are holy and special, we keep. It's not sentimental. It's like keeping up the tradition. Here's a Megillah written 200 years ago. What was it written from? Written from Megillah was written before it. And that's how the tradition keeps on going. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Okay, we have a lot of things to talk about today. So,
which one do you want first? Do you want Purim night or do you want Purim day?
Well, let's go in order. Purim night. Oh, so you guys who missed Purim here in Chabad House of Greater Boston, it was quite the scene. This is the downstairs. If you're listening to this, it's going to be meaningless, but I can't describe what it looks like. But it was called Purim in the Wild West. It was not my idea. It was Yisrael and Zelda's idea.
And so, I don't even know if it was their idea because the Chabad in Manchester also did a Wild West theme. So I think there's a little birdie somewhere at Chabad headquarters that sends out emails to people that you just didn't look at.
Okay, so I'll expand that. I'll help you out. There was no birdies, but for some reason, I don't know when it started, a few years ago, this like theme Purim things. So they have now that, in fact, here's some inside information. Chabad.org has a companion called Chabad One. Chabad One is what shluchim use to run their own websites, and so there's a lot of tools on it to help you out. So there's templates for every yontif, every holiday, and there's different options. So when you go to Purim, there's 20 different options of different themed Purim, like Purim in Hawaii, Purim in the carnival, Purim here, Purim there, Purim everywhere. And so what happens is that when people do it and they buy all this stuff to be able to put on this themed Purim, then some people store it and they post on their little shluchim group, say, oh, who wants to do Purim in the thing? And you just go there and you borrow the stuff from them. So that's why it happens that way. So there's lots of food, lots of people.
Yeah,
keep on going. Huh?
So the chicken was great.
Are you with? Seth was there. Seth was there.
Yeah, we don't have any photo evidence of that, but here.
Yeah, I have other pictures. I tried to send it to you, but it didn't work out.
You sent me a lot. I'm working my way through them here. Hang on.
Yeah, but we can't do it while we're live. We can't going through pictures. We have them, put them up. If not, we move on.
No, I do. We have them. It's just that some things are in different spots here, so it takes a second to. Because you also sent me this video. I don't know what this video is. We're gonna find out together.
The video was somebody wanted to know what it looks like, so I took a quick video before it started. Here we go. We walk into the Chabad house.
There we go.
There's here you are. That I was here. And with the yellow Crocs for those people that are looking. This up there was woodwork, a wood. That's the advertisement for the daytime Purim, the Purim bus, party bus. Wild West, as we go walk downstairs to the social hall, aka basement. Now you can see there's that horse sitting over there. Food, nice prop on the wall. Welcome on the door. Drinks, Chabad. There's the bartender, the gatekeeper, 21 plus. Da, 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 da. Very nice. Get it, okay. Let's get out of the bar. More decorations on the wall. Yeah, well, this is how the room looks. And this is the wanted wall. So we got a bunch of students up there. There's me. There's the show and Zelda. Yeah, that was a very, very good idea to put picture. Oh, there's some help putting. Oh, we're setting up. We got the Bachram helping set up. All right, that's the end of that.
Cool. Thank you.
Back we go.
We have more photos. Okay, so then there's this one, which is also. This one is also Purim night. Okay, there you go. There's people.
Those are BU girls, and there's Yisrael back there doing something.
He's working his way through.
I think the Wild West was good because everybody's wearing cowboy hats. That means all the guys wearing a yarmulke. Gotta remember that for next year. Every theme has to have a hat in it for the guys.
This is the best one right here.
Me, I'm like yeah. You can't see in my hat. It says sheriff. I was the sheriff.
Want to let me zoom in, but yeah, here we go.
Oh, there you go. Very good.
And then, so that's it for Purim night, and then we also
good.
Purim day. My call is not in another window. Leave me alone. There we go. Pos-cast. Boom. Hooray.
Oh, there's the Purim bus. This is on Commonwealth Avenue in front of CAS.
Is that Gimel?
Yes, that is Gimel. The famous Gimel.
Okay, so there's one photo.
And that's the that's the large view there. You can see it. So yeah, now we'll get onto the bus. Let's get onto the bus. Get onto the bus. There we go. Reading the Megillah. And the Megillah is blocking, but way in the back there's like a table with all kinds of food there. There's Yisrael reading the Megillah. And yesterday it was so cold outside that and it was today. Baruch Hashem, it's like if we had this weather yesterday, man, it would have been crazy because the people are so cold. But on the bus, that was why you got the bus. That was a good plan because it was warm. So once people got on the bus, they were sitting. They could even take their coats off. Right. Wonderful. So that was Purim. That was Purim. Okay, now other things to talk about. Last week, okay, we're going to get off the Purim theme for now. Yeah? Off the Purim theme. This is something that bugs me. Purim is like once a year. It's like the happiest day. It's like the easiest yontif. It's not a non-work yontif. The only thing you have to do that may be a little uncomfortable for people is sit and listen to the Megillah for 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And people miss it. They're like, oh, I couldn't come. I had a class. I couldn't come. It's ridiculous. What do you mean you couldn't? Of course you could. If you wanted to, you could have come. Or I have to take this. I have to be somewhere else. What do you have to be? You have to be in shul to hear the Megillah on Purim. People's priorities are messed up. Sadly, that's what we're trying to do. This is our mission in the Chabad house, to reorganize people's priorities in their scheduling time. So Friday night, there's nothing else to do than come for Shabbos. Yontif Day, there's nothing else to do. Anybody says, "Oh, they'll sleep through a class, but they can't come to Megillah because they have a class." Come on, guys, get your priorities straight. Okay, enough of that. Anyway, so there's this kid that goes to BU. He's actually graduating this year. And last year, I was close to him. We meet, we put on film, all this kind of stuff. Good kid. So I didn't like being on campus much this semester. So I messaged him, "Hey, how's it going with the tefillin?" He said, "Rabbi, I haven't put on a tefillin in a long time." I said, "Okay, let's meet tomorrow. We'll start a new streak of tefillin wrapping days. I'll meet you there." But then Yisroel was going to be on campus as well. So I said to him, I told Yisroel, if you see this kid, put on tefillin with him. So I went out there because he was tabling. It was a nice day last week, a nice day. He was tabling outside. I went there, hang out there. And this other kid that I knew walks by. And he said, "No, I'm too busy. 3 hours later, I went back to meet this kid. To put on film with him. While I'm putting on film with him, his phone rings. So he answers the phone, puts it on. It's a video call. And he doesn't. He has a tune on. He just hands me the phone. It's the kid I met early that day. He's on the phone. He called the mamash when he's putting on tefillin. Now this kid who didn't want to put on tefillin with me, and this is what the other guy, the guy that put on tefillin, his name is Jake says, I remember when he put on tefillin for the first time. It was the first week of school at the welcome barbecue at the Chabad house. This is 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I asked the kid the other kid's name is Cole. I said, "Cole, do you ever put on tefillin?" "No." So he put on tefillin then at the welcome barbecue, the first week of freshman year. He put on tefillin for the first time in his life, and I made a shtickle big deal out of it. Guys, he's so amazing. It's his bar mitzvah. He put on tefillin for the first time. And Jacob tells me that the first time he met Cole was there at the barbecue. And here we are, close to 4 years later, 3.5 years later. He didn't want to put on. Okay, whatever. Well, that's a side issue. But my dear friends, who's running the world? Hashem. He didn't want to put on tefillin 3 years. Why? Calls Dafka this guy when he's putting on tefillin. I love it. I love divine providence. Now, there's a rabbi in Minneapolis. His name is Usher Zeilengold. I think last year he celebrated his 85th birthday. And he was a rabbi in an Orthodox shul. It wasn't a Chabad shul, an Orthodox shul. But and he's 85 years old now. He's still the rabbi there. Amazing guy. So he started writing a book of his interactions with the Rebbe, which had a lot of interactions with the Rebbe. And so I saw this one article they printed, and it's a story about this family in their community where the mother became more involved in observing Yiddishkeit, but her husband wasn't so into it, and so she would give him a hard time. So she once wrote to the Rebbe about her husband, and the Rebbe said, "Take it slowly. Take it slowly." The Rebbe said, "Experience has shown that a persistent effort is effective. If you will talk to him again and again, but in a friendly manner, you would accomplish a great deal, especially in view of what you wrote. You have noted many improvements in him already." Basically, the Rebbe is telling him, be persistent or be gentle about it. In 1967, okay, there was a Farbrengen in honor of the yahrzeit of the Rebbe's father. And this Rabbi Zeilengold said he went to the Farbrengen, went to New York. So now, what happened at the Farbrengen, one of the things that would happen is that people who had different events going on in the future, in near future after the Farbrengen, would give in a bottle of mashka, of vodka or any type of kosher liquor, to the Rebbe's office, and then by the Farbrengen, in between the Rebbe's talks, they would come up, or someone would call them, and the Rebbe would pour out a little bit from the bottle into his cup, and then pour from his cup into the bottle. So now some of the wine from the cup that the Rebbe always had, his Farbrengen, was now in the bottle. He would pour some into the person's cup, and the person would tell him what the occasion is, and then the Rebbe would give him a bracha that should be successful, and he would say, distribute some of the bottle here at the Farbrengen, especially was on Shabbos, because if you give if the event is happening after Shabbos, and the Rebbe is giving the bottle on Shabbos, that means he's preparing on Shabbos for after Shabbos. So the Rebbe be very, very specific. Distribute some of it now. The fact that he's giving him the bottles, that'll be a blessing for the occasion is one thing, but it's giving him the bottle to take with him and distribute it at the event, which is after Shabbos. So you're praying on Shabbos for after Shabbos. But if he says this, so what the Rebbe would do, he'd say to him, distribute some of it here at the Farbrengen. So now I'm giving you the bottle to distribute at the Farbrengen. The leftovers you'll take with you back to your city. So what he did was, when he went for this Shabbos for this Farbrengen with the Rebbe's, the Yartzai of the Rebbe's father. So he gave him the bottle. That Shabbos, nobody was called up. Didn't call up. Then at some point, the Rebbe called a teenager from like across the room, like the back of the room, and so you have to understand. If you look at pictures of Farbrengen, like the Rebbe is sitting on the platform, and people are behind him and next to him, and in front of him, it's like jam packed. So if someone's at the end of the room, in the back of the room, to get there, you have to like climb on the benches, like you're literally climbing over people's heads, not on their heads, but over their heads, over the benches. So this teenager was called over, he climbed over, and Rabbi Zangel realized that this is the son of the couple who he had written to their mother. I don't know, for some reason he didn't know where the kid was there in 770. Maybe the kid was learning yeshiva or something. I don't know why he didn't know, but he didn't know. Anyway, so, and how old is this kid? It was before his bar mitzvah. So the Rebbe gave him a bottle and said he should take the bottle, distribute some of it there at the Farbrengen, and then bring it back and have it for his bar mitzvah. Okay. The next day, one of the Rebbe's secretaries comes to Rabbi Zangel and says, the Rebbe wants to see you. Like, wow. So he ran to the mikveh. You never go into the Rebbe's room and not going to the mikveh. How can you? I don't know why he didn't go in the morning, but for whatever reason, he ran to the mikveh. He came, put on his Shabbos clothes, came running back, and the Rebbe said to him that the Rebbe asked him, "Are you going to go to the bar mitzvah?" He says, the Rebbe said, "I imagine you're going to be there because you're their rabbi." So he says, "This is what I want you to share with the crowd there." He said, "Did you notice that nobody came up to receive a bottle except him? Nobody else was called." So he says, you're going to be there, and I want you to tell the whole story, how I called him over, and he came, and how he climbed over, and gave him the bottle of mashka, and this is the way that I'm going to participate in the bar mitzvah. Okay, and then he said also he should share one of the ideas of the Farbrengen. So basically, he said that what the Rebbe wanted is that he should share with the people how the Rebbe specifically paid attention to this boy to honor his bar mitzvah. That it shouldn't be like he was called up amongst all the other people. He's the only one that was called up. Anyway, so this is just a Rebbe story, which we love Rebbe stories, about how every single person is so important, and how the Rebbe was sensitive to each person like that, which is connected to the Purim story, because you know that when Mordechai found out about the decree against the Jews, what did he do? He gathered all the children together and studied Torah with them. And so the lesson for us is and there's a pasuk in Tehillim that says, from the mouths of young children, Hashem establishes his strength in the world to overcome the enemies of the Jews. So that doesn't mean adults not, but a special power is for children. So it's very important when we see what's going on in the world and what Israel's going through now, which is kind of unbelievable, and the fact people took note of the fact this past Shabbos we read Parsha Zachar, which is to remember to destroy Amalek, and here we go, the leader of Iran, who's whether he's biologically Amalek, he definitely represents the hatred of Amalek. He was killed on Parshas, as we're saying, remember to destroy Amalek. He was eliminated, as they say. But we have to know that we don't all have to become every Jew. Me Too Jews, they already know the strategy of Iran and the strategy of the United States and Eretz Yisrael and what this one should do and why did they do this, not do that. Leave that alone for the people whose job it is to run the war. We have another front that we have to act on. That's the front of strengthening our connection to Hashem and bringing more bracha to the Jews in the world, and especially in that part of the world. And stay focused on that. That's it. More mitzvahs, more mitzvahs, more mitzvahs. Hashem will see what we're doing. And since it's the month of Adar, it's the month that negativity and evil is transformed to good and with joy. So we should merit in this month, to the coming Mashiach, the greatest joy and redemption for all the Jews.
Amen. And with that, thank you so much for listening to episode 150 of the Pos-cast with Rabbi Shmuel Posner. We will see you next week.